All right, we are here to talk about some rivals to holy, the chat is hold on, let me erase that. I'm not going to keep the chat open since this is basically for a YouTube video because I don't want to edit. So, okay. So, I got to do my intro. So, yo, Skeptic here. Okay, all right. Go ahead, put out your little memes, get it all out of the way. Okay, you're done, right? Okay. So, I wanted to do a edited YouTube video initially talking about this deep dive, but the TLDR of it is that I didn't make an edited video because I didn't have anything unique. I didn't provide anything to the conversation because the video was honestly really solid. There wasn't anything for me to criticize. I had no problems with what was said in the video. It was just pretty cut and dry. So, Rivals of Aether 2 deep dive currencies and cosmetics. Everything explained in this video, like, there was nothing to misunderstand. It was literally super easy to follow, pretty short, concise. It got straight to the point. Just honestly, really well done. Rivals 2 politician. Okay, sure. But enough of me talking. Let's watch the video. I'm gonna pause it a lot. So, yeah, just giving you a heads up because I already watched this. So I'm just gonna pause the video and talk about some points that I find a little bit interesting.
Rivals of Aether 2 is releasing in just under 2 weeks, and we are extremely excited to finally get our labor of love out into the world. As part of our lead up to launch, we're getting you the full download on what to expect in the game with a series of videos featuring our studio lead, Dan Fernacey. Last week, we talked about the key features the game will launch with, and today we're talking about our currencies, cosmetics, and how they tie into progression. Our goal is to keep things fun, fresh, and rewarding, all while making it so we can keep giving you new content. Plus,
I like that. They said they want to keep things fun, fresh, and rewarding. So that definitely implies that they're going to be constantly updating the game, giving us new skins, and obviously with the seasonal events, it gives them more incentive for not only the players to come back to the game, but it also gives kind of an incentive as well, besides obviously money reasons, for the devs to continue pumping out skins for the players. They better be, else it's a dead game. That's what I'm saying.
It's a way to ensure your character in game has as much personality as you do, so you can style on your opponents in style. This is the second in a 3-part series of videos. Our final topic after this one will include our plans for the game post-launch.
Hello, I'm Dan Fernacey, the studio lead at Aether
I'm gonna
Studios.
speed this up a little bit.
Yes, we've seen your concerns.
Now this was funny. Dan, after releasing Rivals of Aether 2, the game was a massive success, but he has to support the free content. My boy's gonna be flipping burgers.
That I'm not doing a good enough job of taking your money. That's my bad. I'll definitely work on that one in the future. But for now, I'd like...
Okay, I gotta say this too, and for the people complaining like, oh, why aren't you happy that the developers are giving you free stuff? It's like, no, man. I don't like this in this specific situation because Aether Studios is not a triple A, it's an indie studio. They need the money. Something like EA or Activision Blizzard, they don't need to nickel and dime their customers, but they still do it anyways, even though they have way more money than Aether Studios does. And that's why I have a problem in this situation that they're giving away a lot of stuff for free. And when you think about the whole scope of everything, right? I said this in my last video, but I'll go over it again. So it's a $30 game, so it's half the price of a AAA title. Future characters are free, right? Some skins are in the progression system, So you don't even have to pay money for some of them for cosmetics. And you're probably constantly getting new modes, probably more single player content. We'll have to see in the future, but assuming that the game continues for more than, I would say, a year or two, we're definitely getting a lot more content. So, and it's not even paid content either. They're just doing it for free. So that's why, and I think a lot of other people too was like worried about the whole thing, because it's like, if Aether Studios was like a AAA studio, I don't think anyone would have a problem with them giving out shit for free. But because they're an indie studio, it's like, holy shit, what are y'all gonna do? I mean, the gameplay is fun for the most part, and the server functions are great. I mean, the matchmaking works, the rollback server-side netcode works. So the gameplay is crispy, the netcode is crispy, everything is good on that front. So that's why people, including myself, don't want the game to kind of flop. And I know it's extreme to say that the game is gonna flop, but not every game is guaranteed to succeed. That's just the reality of things. Even if you make a really good game, not every game is bound to succeed. So that's why this whole time that I've been talking about Rivals of Aether 2, I've been on the side of caution rather than optimism, because for one, that's just my personality, and two, that's just how competitive the gaming industry is. But that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. We're just simpling it down, or narrowing it down, to the currencies and cosmetics video, so let's just go over that.
I'd like to share our vision for our business model, the game's economy, and the in-game currencies in Rivals of Aether 2. Now that's the question everyone's been asking me, and I'm happy to say that the game will be $29.99 USD with region-specific pricing through Steam.
Okay, here we go.
We have a variety of cosmetics so players can customize their experience. We are designing our cosmetics and economy systems in a way that not only keeps our studio going, but also feels fair to our players. There'll be skins that drastically change the look of your character.
Okay, that skin looks actually pretty badass. The whole, like, Borderlands kind of aesthetic, it looks pretty sick.
And even add visual effects and sound effects.
The little, like, Halloween Claire, that's pretty nice too.
As some of the higher rarities.
Goku skin? Alright, get out of here. Oh, you got the little, like, palette swaps. Yep.
Colors of your characters on both the default.
I like this little, like, mint, like, blue color. It looks really nice.
Skin, as well as some of the premium skins. There'll be taunts, so you can style on your opponents mid-match. There'll be icons, so you can customize your profile. There'll be emotes, so you can talk to your opponent.
I love that they're using the what's it called? Creatures of Aether, I think, or whatever that game is called. I'm glad that they're using the emotes from there, because the sprite work and the art style is fucking beautiful. It's so good. So I'm glad they're reusing assets. Very smart move.
In between online matches.
Yeah, the mint pink looks really nice, yeah.
That change the explosion that happens when you get KO'd. And you can even change your respawn platform.
I love the little sleigh respawn platform. That's so cool.
From and after you get back. All in all, there'll be approximately 300 different cosmetics in-game at launch. The main way is by just playing the game. Through the character progression, you'll be unlocking cosmetics or currencies each time you level up a character. Also, like we mentioned in our previous video, there will be free monthly events where you can unlock...
That looks so good. Like the little, like, snow crag skin with, like, the cute little... Oh, I just realized it's a snowman. Snowman crag. You have the little top hat here. You got the carrots. You got the scarf. Okay, I see what y'all are doing. I see that.
Themed cosmetics. And finally, you can purchase cosmetics by using the two different in-game currencies. Aether coins are the currency you get by just playing the game. You can earn XP in any game mode and get coins by leveling up. You can spend these in the coin shop. Aether bucks are primarily acquired by spending real money, but can also be earned.
Yo, can we talk about that Panther Zetaburn skin? Oh, baby, I gotta get that. That skin looks kind of clean. Oh, you get a snowball rock too? Oh, true.
Are primarily acquired by spending real money.
Oh, what if the rock is like a snowman head? That would be pretty sick too, actually.
but can also be earned through play. You'll get some Aether bucks through character levels, and even more by playing in the monthly events. You can spend these in the buck.
Oh,
Aether bucks.
interesting. So, okay, so if you don't want to grind for Aether coins, you can use the Aether bucks to then turn Aether bucks into Aether coins. Interesting, okay.
Through character levels, and even more by playing in the monthly events. You can spend these in the buck shop. 100 Aether bucks are worth $1, and 1 Aether buck.
Yeah, I know. I don't like the name Aether bucks either, but I mean, it makes sense, but it's like so generic, but I guess we're here.
Can get you 100 Aether coins. We aren't trying to hide anything, but you'll have to do just a little bit of math. The coin shop refreshes each day with new items available for Aether coins. You don't have to play every day, but doing so.
Okay, now this is actually smart from the devs, that the coin shop is rotational. So it's another way for players to kind of be retained a little bit, right? So if the coin shop is changing every single day, it gives players who don't even like play the game that much, it gives them another incentive to boot up the game.
So we'll show you more options. And whenever you purchase an item, the shop automatically restocks one from the same category. The Buck Shop is a premium static shop with a growing catalog of high ticket items. This is where you can buy something like the Chef Loxodon skin that we teased back in April.
Yo, Chef Loxodon looks so fire. It's such a good skin.
Go here if you love Aether Studios and want us to keep making cool stuff. Cosmetics will help us pay for upkeep and allow us to create new content. If you're sad that you missed a monthly event and didn't get the rewards in time, don't worry. The grindable cosmetics will enter the coin shop once the event ends, and the premium items will remain in the Buck Shop forever.
So no FOMO there, because the grindable stuff, you can just buy it with Aether coins later on, and then same thing with the premium seasonal high ticket skins. They're also going to be permanently in the Buck Shop, so that's really sick of them to do that.
We're adamant about only selling cosmetic items that don't affect gameplay. Our plan is that all future characters and game modes will be free. There will be new skins and other cosmetics added every month to both in-game shops. We'll also be partnering with creators and event organizers to introduce new cosmetics earned.
I love that. That's kind of like a soft, not really a soft confirmation. I would say that's a hard confirmation that tournament skins are going to be making a return. So something like, yeah, USA Falco, something like Genesis Clarin, or what was it, Heatwave Forceburn. So skins like those are going to make a return. I think that's going to be really fucking sick. So, because like, I think, honestly, the tournament skins are probably like the best ones, at least in my opinion, from Rivals 1. So I'm glad that they're going to be bringing this back.
Out.
The Skeptic skin, dude, I would have to probably be like a top player to be like, Dan Fornacy, can you please add my skin palette to the game, my color palette?
That, we have covered most of what will be available in the game at launch. Next week, we'll be sharing something that many of you have been asking about. That's right, the post-launch roadmap. So stay tuned.
I think that's it, right? Okay. So yeah, overall, like, this video was just really well done. There's nothing for me to really criticize. And yeah, there's nothing I could really add to the conversation. Like, they just did a really good job at explaining everything. So yeah, very solid video. And I'll probably do something similar for the last deep dive, the post-launch plans, because I don't think there's going to be much I'm going to be adding in terms of my own perspective. Like, the best you're gonna get out of me is like, oh, they're gonna look at this cool, like, roadmap. These cool modes are coming, awesome, or characters or whatever. Like, there's not much I can add besides going, ooh, that's neat. So, yeah, overall, very solid video. And yeah, very simple to understand. Very good. So let's move on to the Rivals 2 deep dive Q&A. So I believe they did this right after this video came out. So I'm going to quickly sift through it. I'm going to move it 2x speed because this whole thing is an hour and 19 minutes long. That's just way too long for the stream. So we're going to try to speed through this as quickly as possible.
Ooh.
So let me see.
Q&A.
I think someone made a timestamp too. Yeah.
Rivals 2. Rivals mode. When will ranked mode release? And how will you ensure the fun of casuals and competitives alike at launch without ranked mode? Well, that second part of the question is a little loaded. But yeah, ranked mode, I'm happy to say that there will be some form of ranked mode at launch. Internally, we're calling it like ranked light, but in terms of functionality, it functions like a ranked. You will get a score, an ELO for your account. You will gain.
I mean, it's basically skill-based matchmaking. Essentially, it's skill-based matchmaking without the visuals, which is, I mean, it's there. I mean, it's good that you have skill-based matchmaking, because if you don't, let's say a new person plays the game and then they queue into like a Rivals 1 Pro or like a PM like high-level player. I don't think they're going to have fun getting 3-stocked every single round. So even though it's a light version of ranked, I'm at least glad they have some form of skill-based matchmaking. Now, it didn't really work that well for me in the betas, but hopefully through the demo next week on Monday when it's out, I'll play my placement matches. I think they said around 4 placement matches is the total, I think. So I'm gonna play those, and then I'll probably make a video talking about if the ranked light kind of thing, skill-based matchmaking, will work. So I might make a video on that. We'll see.
ELO by winning, and you will lose it by losing. It will have a function, right? So you gain more if you beat someone higher than you, and you lose less if you lose to someone higher than you, and vice versa. Unlike Rivals 1, it is not character-based. It'll be for your whole account, so you don't have to worry about which secondary.
That's another good thing, too. I'm honestly glad that your rank is account-wide rather than character, specifically character by character. Because let's say you're a diamond or master player or whatever, and then you want to try a new character because maybe you're bored of the one you're playing right now. So you choose a new one, and then you have to go through the whole rigmarole of playing various matches to get to where you need to be. And who knows how long that'll take. And during that whole time you're doing this, you're constantly beating up players that are lower level than you. And they're not having fun. You're not having fun. I mean, some players have fun in smurfing, but I would say for the most part, it's just not productive for both sides of the party. And so that's why I do prefer having an account-wide rank rather than like a character-by-character rank. SF6 did waves for this. Wait, did they? Is it account-wide also, or is it character-by-character?
Like that. We'll still be best of 3. Beth on our team has...
Oh, it's character-by-character? Ooh, I don't like that. Hey, Toaster, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that.
Been working on that, programmer. She's been working on it for the last basically 3 weeks, 4 weeks, to get everything in. So yes, there will be ranked at launch, and we haven't pushed it too much because it is coming in hot, and like I said, it is ranked light. Our main design for ranked is that it will have rewards.
No, the
and stuff
video,
like
come back. Okay.
that, like more stuff for playing.
Oh, they do both? Oh, interesting. Oh, they have an account. How does that work? I'll have to ask you about that later, Sound9s. Just to get a little bit more detail.
Early next year, so like January, February, March is what we're targeting for that. But we will have ranked. We will have ranked light. One thing that's a little bit different.
Oh yeah, I think ranked mode is taking a while. Is because they're trying to plan out the ranked rewards. So because I think they have the fundamental structure of ranked, which is basically why they're calling it ranked light. But obviously they're not releasing it because there's some sort of holdup. Most likely it's because of the rewards they want to implement when you're ranking up. Because the whole point of a ranked mode is to not only see your visual progression, but it's also to kind of, well, most modern games, they reward you for reaching a certain rank. And so I think Aether Studios is trying to keep up with the times, and they're learning a lot from these modern titles. So they're trying to do the same formula that kind of works right now currently.
Our design is we plan on doing like a monthly soft reset and like a monthly leaderboard for every month people play. And what a soft reset is like basically it acts like a new ranked season in another game, but you don't go like all the way back to like basically 1,000 is like the starting elo. It'll be like the leaderboard will compress, and then you'll get 2 levels up again. So yeah, that's I think everything on ranked light. We are working to get it not just at launch, but in Next Fest as well. The main.
Oh, I missed that part. So ranked light, they're going to try to get it out by Steam Next Fest, which is on Monday. So I guess that's the perfect time for me to just try out the game again and to see whether or not the skill-based matchmaking is actually working or if they're still messing around with it. But I think they'll tell us anyways, right? I assume they'll tell us if this whole thing will be available within the demo next week.
The reason there is so we can get some testing on it before it goes live the following week. Because like I said, it's coming in hot.
Yeah, we were really excited to get this feature in. Like, obviously, it's a core feature to us. It just wasn't something that we hit our goal with at the Kickstarter, but we really wanted to do it. So we've been trying really hard to squeeze this in. Even this like light version, we're really excited about. I saw someone ask in the chat, like, okay, so how is this different than what we had in the beta? And I guess, so it's gonna be like a separate queue now, but do you wanna go expand more on that, Dan?
Yeah, it's not just a separate queue, it's a separate number. So you'll still have like your MMR for casual matchmaking. And that MMR is useful in like trying to match you skill-wise, but it also like expands, right? It has logic, so like you're not gonna get stuck in queue forever if you're, you become really good. Like it'll just over time, expand your search so you can find, people of wider skill levels. But at first, it tries to match your skill. So that will still exist. There'll still be a casual MMR behind the scenes. This ranked one will be a separate number, and ranked searching will be purely based on like your rank, right? So if you've never played ranked before, you'll still, start out at the same ELO for ranked when you play it. When you do start out, though, we also will, like ELO, which is based on, how chess rankings were done and have been done for years. When you first start, you have a higher change value, right? So that set up a placement match system. There's basically every month you'll have 4 placement matches, and during those matches you can, your rank will change quickly. So if you are really good and you go 4-0 in your placements, you will come in at a higher rank than you won't be, you're not going to be stuck. You're not going to have like a lot of people who haven't played ranked yet, stomping on people for too long because they'll get pushed up the rank ladder.
Cool. I saw someone come in and said, I really want to know the price beforehand. So we just announced that in the video. Make sure.
Oh my god, people keep asking about the price. It's in the video. But that's okay.
We just release a new video on YouTube that shares all the stuff about currencies and cosmetics, and yeah, $30. Happy to say, $29.99.
It's 30 clams.
We've also got. I just want to.
Bro, I'm about to ban you.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions right now, everyone. And just
I need a new moderator.
The way we set this up is we put out the Q&A board last week, so we're gonna try to get through basically everything that's high voted on this, and then we'll get to your questions. So obviously you can post it in the chat, but I want to tell you we're not ignoring you, but we're gonna have to answer these ones first. So you might need to save the question for later. All right, cool. Will the seasonal skins be FOMO? We talked about this in the video a little.
Yeah, this one's addressed in the video, but I'll repeat it here really fast so everyone knows. No, they aren't. So every time we do an event, there will be the main like skins tied to the event are actually gonna be premium skins, right? So if you saw the video, even in that little thumbnail, there was that Winter Stoat Maple, and there was the Rano with the winter outfit on. So like that Rano would be like what we're calling a premium skin, and so that would go into the buckshop, and even though it's tied to the event, it just goes in the buckshop forever. And then the Winter Stoat Maple, that's what we're calling like a common skin because it's just a retexture. That would be the type of skin that would be free in the event. You would.
I'm assuming that I could be totally like way off here. I think they're. I assume that Maple was a badger. I thought she was like a ferret raccoon type of thing.
Play the event. 2 XP, you level up, and then eventually you hit a tier where you can get that skin.
So hopefully, I'm thinking that they're going to do more common skins than premium skins in the event, but hopefully, maybe they'll balance it out to be like maybe two common skins and maybe 2 premium to kind of match it out. We'll see. Oh, the winter one. I see.
That one at the end of the event will get put into the coin shop. And then the way the coin shop works is it's rotating. So every day you get shown a different coin shop. There's items of different types. There's icons going there, emotes, palette skins, death effects, respawn platform, stuff like that. So it can just show up in like basically the skin category. And then if you purchase a skin on that day, then it will reset that single box, so you'll get shown another skin. So it won't be instantly grabbable, but anything that was like grindable basically gets put into the shop once the event is over, and anything that is purchasable is in that buckshop for good.
Cool. I know I just was like, hey, we'll go through these first, but now there's good questions in chat about what we're just talking about. So yeah. Do you have chat open, or do you want me to read these?
I did, but then I changed to...
No, it's
let's see.
All right. So
DLC characters?
But yeah, that's how it's designed.
Okay, cool.
Gambling to rivals, brother.
DLC character schedule. So we do have a third video in the deep dive series planned, which is our future plans and roadmap, but we can definitely chat about this a little today,
Yeah, I think we can just basically look at our high level. Somebody in the comments said, in some of the dev ticket tournament streams, they mentioned our goal is 4 characters per year. Does that goal seem attainable now that you're closer to release? How that goal adjusted? What are challenges when developing a brand new character mechanic? Skins is funny that you bring it up, because skins is actually becomes a piece to us in terms of character development, so I'll mention that in a second, bug fixing, etc. Yes, so our goal is still 4 new characters per year.
So 4 new characters per year. That means most likely 1 character every 3 months or 1 every quarter.
It's kind of funny in that it's both ambitious and doesn't seem like a lot depending on your perspective, right? I think like even going to a game like League of Legends, which just Rivals in general, and I've been inspired by. Like when I first started playing League, they were putting out like a character every 2 weeks. It felt like every month back in like 2011, and now they're dropped down to like 2 maybe characters a year, 3. Yeah, it definitely depends.
How does that compare to other DLC passes? In most other passes, I think like if we're talking about like a modern fighting game, normally it's like around 4 to 5 characters per pass, depending on like the studio. It might be at a quicker pace or a slower pace, but generally it's normally on the slower end of things, because they kind of... Now, it could be that I know characters do take a lot of time to develop, but also if they just drop like 2 characters in like 1 month, or 1 character in 1 month and then the next month they drop another one, it not only kind of messes around with the meta of the game, but it gives the players less time to be excited about that one thing. Like for example, right? Let's just say Capcom drops Akuma January, and all the players are like, wow, I love Akuma, he's cool, he's out. And then the next month, you drop Terry, and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. Akuma's meta didn't even develop yet. Like, his combos are still not optimized yet, and they already dropped another character. So, having 4 characters per year, at least for Aether Studios, is definitely on the ambitious side of things, because they have a lot of other things to work on. So manpower is just most of their manpower is being used up. So it's really hard to kind of like divide the task. So it's doable if they spread out the characters. Like I said, just 1 every quarter, 1 character every 3 months. And 1 character every 3 months, I would say, is a pretty good kind of like schedule, because it gives the players enough time to develop the baseline for a character and for some sort of meta to develop instead of the meta being constantly shaken up by a new character every other month.
Especially like shifting the meta that much, right? On a competitive game, like even 4 characters is a lot in that regard, like because everything keeps changing. But that, one, is still our goal, and 2, you know, our producer Matt, if he was here, would say, you know, for the first year, we are on track for that to be the case. So that's pretty exciting. In terms of schedule, I think the main thing is like, as we work with George and SPS in our team, and then also working with Off-Brand, like we'll probably have some idea of what our competitive schedule is like as well. We will try to make sure that characters and the competitive schedule are not fighting against each other. Like, right, if there is like an official finals, we'll try to make sure that, or whatever, we'll try to make sure that the character releases aren't too close to that. But other than that, we plan on kind of like releasing them as they're done, right? So it'll kind of be spread out. It's not like we're gonna drop.
Yeah, spaced throughout the year, and depending on dodging stuff that would ruin the competitive integrity. But otherwise, new content drops to keep it fresh.
Yeah, and then in terms of challenges, somebody mentioned skins. I think that's a good question and a good point to bring up. Like, we do have a rarity system on all our cosmetics, and skins is like one of the most obvious ones where you can tell the difference. So when developing a skin, we have common skins, which in our backend are basically just retextures, right? So like the example I like to give is if you have like tigers that are burned, for example. So that would be a common skin because it changes his fur to have tiger stripes, which is like a new texture that, you know, the default doesn't have. And then, you know, you can have different color palettes for that. You could have like a orange tiger, you know, red tiger, etc. So that's a common skin. A rare skin is now a pretty big, there's like, it's pretty wide in terms of how different it is, but the general of a rare skin is that it's a new mesh, right? So not only is the texture new, but also the whole character's mesh gets replaced with something else. And then rare skins have increasing amounts of, some have like VFX changes, some also have their articles changed to a point to kind of match the theme. And that affects new characters, right, too, because if we're developing characters, like, oh, are we going to change this, you know, additional thing if they have a stage control? Is that changing in skins? So some rares are just recolors or retextures for something like their article, something like Lily or Poppy, and some do have new meshes for those. And then an epic skin is one up from a rare, and that will have a lot of VFX new and a lot of articles. And one of the big things, upgrades on epics, is a lot of them will have new sound effects as well. Most rare skins will not have, you know, their own sound effects. So epics are
What's an article?
Like,
Chat wants to know.
article is like anything that's not a hitbox that a character can do.
It's a boring way of saying like fireballs and other things like that.
Fireball is a gray area because it is kind of a hitbox, but yeah, I guess it is a projectile, so yes, it would count in this definition of our article.
Sorry, I'm making it worse.
No, it can change. Yeah, and Lily's seed that she throws, it also counts. That mesh does change on certain skins. Maple's probably the easiest example. So like Maple's articles that can change on skins is like Lily, Terry, Poppy, her seed. She also has VFX that change, so like the mark effect can change. The leaves that spawn when she like dashes can change. So articles are like actual, like the plants and the seed, and then visual effects are like the mark that spins around and like the leaves that spawn. So yeah, epic skins will kind of show the promise of like more stuff that's changing, right? So like Chef Loxodon is the example in the video, and he has like the fireball changes to a meatball.
Okay, why you booing, bro? Come on. You just told me in VC earlier that you were gonna glaze the game. You can't, unless you're booing me. If you're booing me, I'll take that. I'll take it.
He's got, his axe is now a pizza, what do you call that thing? I knew it when we were working on it, the oven.
I don't remember either, so we're just gonna move past it.
Yeah, the giant spatula. And it has different sound effects when it hits. Pizza peel, there we go.
Peel, yeah.
And yeah, so that's...
Okay, you're like, booing me? I'll take it. I'll take it.
The differences. And then there is also a tier legendary that items can have, and it's shown, the icon for it was shown in the video. If you want to go back, you can go look. Not on an item that actually is legendary, but kind of just to show the different colors and rewards. And we'll have to wait to see what that is for skins, because there are no legendary skins yet.
Yeah, some of these are...
He said there's no legendary skins yet, so I'm very curious to know what legendary skins are. Now, this is just my little hypothesis here. I'm assuming legendary skins are everything that encompasses the epic skins, but it's kind of like a bundle. So, like, let's say for a legendary skin, it's something like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of one. Maybe like Diamond Crag or something. I don't know. Jewel Crag. Like he's like a jewel or whatever. Like a diamond or something. Like something very flashy. And like bundled with that, you get like a player icon specific to that skin. You get like an emote out of it, maybe a buddy or something like that. So that's what I'm assuming legendary skins, what they could be. But I could be totally off the mark. But to me, that's what a legendary skin would kind of encompass. But we'll see. And no, not gambling.
Opportunities though, like how Dan mentioned, voice.
Get your gotcha brain rot out of here.
That is cool. Yeah. Also, I've been informed it's kind of a rectangle square situation, that all projectiles in Rivals 2 are articles, but not vice versa. So we're learning something every day.
Yes.
Thanks, Menace.
Yeah.
Up here, when we're sorting by top, but we are
Pass free battle pass rewards. Will there be a way to get them, or are they gone forever? Right now we're not planning a system where you can like equip and play them again, because they are free and they're like half currency, half, you know, there's like icons, emotes, like a death effect seasonal and one skin in each of them. So right now, like instead of developing that system, they're gonna go into the coin shop after it's over. So the grindable items will go in the coin shop, and they can show up in your rotation.
Yeah, so instead of being able to replay the seasonal / monthly battle passes, they're kind of doing a more roundabout way of getting those items using the okay, let me rephrase that. Not really roundabout, but the alternative to that is that they're putting the grindable items in the coin shop and the premium seasonal skins into the premium shop. So they're still accessible in that way. So honestly, I'm trying to think of whether or not I like this method more than just replaying like a battle pass. And I think I guess I feel neutral on this, because it's not necessarily a bad way to go about it, because those items are still accessible. But at the same time, I don't know how much they'll put into the coin shop. I think we saw some emotes and icons in there, so maybe they'll put all of the seasonal like skins and other cosmetics into the coin shop, which I'm assuming they're going to do. So I guess in a way, okay, I guess I'm coming around. I think this is fine, actually.
And the premium items will stay. They go into the buckshop, and it's not like they go. There's no like, we're not designing the buckshop around like any kind of like FOMO. So like, once they go up in the buckshop, even though they're tied to that event, they'll still be in there.
Yeah. So like at the end of a regular battle pass in a game, like the level 100 skin in COD or whatever, like it's just gone forever. You can never get it. Ours will just go into the shop. So eventually, you can earn it through getting bucks through playing, or you can just straight up buy it whenever you want. So it won't be missing. Yeah. La Reina. This is a fun question. How far in development is La Reina? This is good to catch up on again. Yeah. What do we got?
I'm pretty sure they said
La
she's
Reina
not coming anytime
is,
soon.
In development, there's like basically characters are done in parallel. So I don't know how specific we want to get with this.
Oh, well, we can start by saying, because not everyone stays abreast of everything. So like she's planned for a few years from now, maybe, right? A year or two.
Yeah, not necessarily a few years from now, but she is not in. I can just say that she's not in the first 4, right? So we talked about how we're planning 4 characters a year. So she's not in the first grouping, and that's because before like those characters started development like 2 years ago now, right? The characters that are in the first 4, and like not only were there modeled.
I definitely think one of the reasons as to why La Reina is taking so long is because of the kind of workshop winner announcement taking a while, because they extended the deadline. So by extending the deadline, obviously development time would also have to be extended for the workshop announcement, because they don't know at the time what character was going to be chosen. So they couldn't just start working on the model beforehand. There's kind of a period where they kind of had to discuss about the situation, talk about it, see who they like. And so, because like they said just now, that the other characters that they were working in parallel to La Reina, those characters were like already being developed prior, like 1 or 2 years ago, I think. So they were already being worked on beforehand. So yeah, I'm not too surprised that Lorena is going to take a while to come out. It is kind of unfortunate that she's most likely going to come out in year 2 or year 3. So most likely, I would say the most realistic answer I would probably give is early 2026 or mid 2026. I feel like that's possible if they're just on schedule with every single character. But if even one character gets delayed, I feel like 2027 might be the most plausible answer, and it fucking sucks. Because Lorena, if this character came out on launch, I think the game would go even crazier. Like seeing like this wrestling grappler character with all these cool moves, she has a lot of personality. So she would do wonders for the marketing of the game. Just that character alone would sell the game. But it's unfortunate that we're going to have to wait quite a while for her to release. It's a bummer, but I mean, that's just how game development is. You just never know what's going to happen. So if they're on schedule, most likely 2026. If one character gets delayed, 2027 at the earliest.
And rigs and stuff totally done by like Mafu and Corey on our team, but they had already started being animated before the contest even wrapped up. So she is in the next grouping after that, right? So she's in the next grouping of 4. So that is the schedule. So it won't be basically the first year after launch, but she'll be sometime the next year.
Yeah, I think what would be really fun to do with her. So someone asked also just how far in development. I think like we showed this in the video that like, yeah, we took a stab at like a new concept that translates her to 3D nicely. And I think she'll be fun to kind of, we talk like openly about designing characters in general, but like if we can have a spotlight on her through the next year or 2, like while she's coming out, that'd be fun. I think already I would really like to plan a stream where we interview the original creators of La Reina.
Oh, okay. I don't remember him saying this. Okay, so they're thinking about doing an interview with the creator of Lorena. That's pretty cool. I would love to hear like I guess a deep dive into like how Lorena is being ported over from Rivals 1 to Rivals of Aether 2. That's an interesting conversation and a really interesting video to just kind of like to learn about, like how they're maybe changing some moves, keeping some moves, kind of like that decision making. I really kind of like that aspect of game development. So as a nerd, I like those types of videos.
Having them or our own devs like back on to talk about like okay, now here's some of like her moveset and stuff like that. But that'll all be 2025 and later. So she's basically got like a really nice looking model right now, but we're working on other stuff that's already been in the works, like people are mentioning original characters and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, is story mode still coming?
Yes.
Obviously, story mode is still coming. They spent so much time on story mode, they're not gonna sack it. It just, logistically, it just doesn't make sense, especially for an indie studio. Now, AAA studios can take losses, right? I mean, we've just saw this whole debacle happen with Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2's whole thing, its whole shtick, was that, oh yeah, we went from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 because we're gonna give the players this awesome and epic PvE story experience. It's gonna go crazy, it's gonna go nuts. And then here we are, where there's just no story mode, no PvE, no nothing. Where it's just cooked. And they're still doing, I don't know, I don't have an insight into their profits, but I don't think they're taking a loss. So they could easily just sack PvE entirely. Obviously, Aether Studios, they're an indie company. They can't sack story mode like that. And obviously, why would you want to? It's another way to bring players in aside from newer players just hopping online and playing the core game mode. It gives them something to do. Especially when you're taking a lot of losses and you're like, man, I still want to play the game, but all I can do is just fight other players. So story mode gives them another way to have fun with the game. Yeah, it definitely does depend on how much money they have to continue development. Because I think later, once I played the video again, they said something about like, once we get enough funds, we're gonna try to rehire some of the people that have worked on story mode because I don't know if a lot of you know this, but they laid off the story mode team a while ago. Like the whole team, it's just eviscerated. It's gone. So most likely, story mode's gonna be a while. It's definitely not gonna be like, even chapter 1, I feel like is still gonna be like probably year 4, year 5, because they have to develop. Obviously, they have to make the game more feature complete. They gotta have more single player content. They gotta have more. They gotta rework some of the I think the UI is fine for now as like a temporary placeholder, but I definitely think they should revamp that. They gotta have a tutorial mode. Like, there's just a lot of quality of life features and core features from other fighting games that need to be added before story mode development can continue. So it's gonna be quite a while.
So basically, back when the Kickstarter ended, we unfortunately had to let go of the story mode team. So everyone that was working on story mode, as well as Mason, our team, was an environment artist who was at that point doing story mode because the stages were done. And that's because we kind of raised enough money to keep some of the team together, but not everyone. And also because the Kickstarter, a lot of the promise was a platform fighter that's balanced for competitive and has good online, right? That's what a lot of people wanted to see, and like that was kind of the excitement around the project. So we said, okay, well, let's make sure we can at least satisfy that and not be pooled 10 different ways. So we decided to focus down on that and then do that as best we could, and basically use the funds to reform a team, depending on who's available. Hopefully get some of our people back in if they're still interested and still around, and then basically start development as soon as January, if we can, right? I think we'll see, like, for the rest of this year, we'll probably have a lot of stuff to do, especially with the amount of features coming in hot.
I mean, that's just how it is, though. That's just game development. Like, the winner was just announced a little bit later than planned, so they couldn't have foreseen the winner, so obviously they couldn't pre-plan for the character to be in development. So, like, I know, like, I mean, she's still a good character. She'll still bring in a lot of new players. It's just that now the potential hype is lowered just a little bit. They could have, but
yeah, we basically want to get back in development and then make it.
It is a bummer, though. It definitely is a letdown.
Chapter idea in mind. So when we say story mode, we're basically talking about chapter 1, this idea in our head. And if it goes well and basically it becomes a big part.
Okay, we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. Because I think her premise right now, at least for Rivals 1, it's basic enough to where they can be open-ended. So, like, Helios, for example, his story is very fleshed out and it's very specific. So, like, the best case scenario is that they just say, hey, we like the story you have for Helios. Let's just port it over. I think it's fine to keep it as is. And then the other side of that is like, oh, okay, well, this story is very fleshed out and specific, but it doesn't really work with what we have going on now. And it's kind of hard to tweak it because you're so specific about every little detail. Whereas like Lorena's lore, it's very broad, it's very vague, so Aether Studios has a lot more wiggle room to make the lore, to make the character like fit their universe, if that makes any sense. That's one way they could do it, yeah. Lorena, like, teaming up with Fleet in a way.
Want to add chapters over time. So basically, like, not only will there be more content for multiplayer, but the content for single player will also expand over time as well.
Yeah, and we have some ideas for it too, to tell different stories with it, which sounds stupid because it's called story mode. But sometimes story mode can just be a different, like in a fighting game, they just mix all the characters together and they put like some text. So we're trying to also like expand the lore of the game potentially with that. So yeah.
One person asked, can I explain the chapter specifically, which I don't like over hyping and under delivering, but I do want to excite your brain a little bit on what I think of when I think of chapters. So like obviously the chapter will have some story, right, that is either continuing or expanding, and like each chapter would focus on like either a different part of the story or different characters, like where they are. So like that's, lore wise, having chapters is nice because you can like jump around. But in terms of gameplay, what excites me about doing a chapter system is the high level plan of each chapter is like being able to change the delivery of a platformer. So in our plans, like chapter 1 is like a pretty linear platformer, right, where you go through and there's levels and they're designed for like the characters you're playing. But then chapter 2 might be like a Metroidvania, for example. No, not a massive Metroidvania, not as big as like something like Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a whole game. It would still be like smaller, but like you might have more backtracking and things like that. And then chapter 3 could be like a roguelike, for example, like these other methods of.
Okay, so these chapters are way more ambitious than I initially thought. So he said earlier that chapter 1 was going to be linear. It's something to do. Chapter 2 is this whole like mini Metroidvania. Chapter 3 is like a roguelite. So they're basically, in each subsequent chapter, it's like its own like little spin-off game, and that sounds really nutty. That sounds kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how that's gonna cost a lot of money. I feel like that is insane, but it sounds really cool. Like I'm not opposed to the idea, but it's just the execution and the cost. It makes me a little bit iffy on it. At this point, the hope is Ludwig and other actual influencers, like outside of the fighting sphere, promoting the game, because then the devs can actually. Yep, that's what I'm saying. Is that marketing can essentially. That's the reason why I made my whole concerns video for Rivals of Aether 2. It's because marketing is a very powerful tool. Like, it can make people who didn't think they want something want it. So like, for example, right, just a regular old water bottle, it's whatever, right? But if this water bottle has like a Pikachu on it, or has like a Pikachu bottle cap, then all of a sudden people start lining up and scalpers start buying the hell out of it because it's a Pokemon collectible item. So that's the power of like marketing and IP. But obviously they don't have the IP power, but marketing in general is just that powerful. And so that's why I've been harping on them, well, specifically to Off-Brand, about that, because even though Rivals of Aether 2 is not as feature complete as other modern fighting game titles, the gameplay is solid and the netcode is also solid. So then you take your strengths and you promote those strengths and you add more to it. So you're like, okay, well, our gameplay is really solid and our netcode is also solid. What else can we promote about our game? And then you kind of go into like, I guess, more of your universe, right? Because you want to create a story. You want to tell people a story. And so that's why I've been harping about like, instead of Moveset Mondays, you could give more information about the lore to other players, because not everybody can push buttons good. Not everybody wants to be a high-level, top-level fighting game player. And having that lore aspect is another way for players to stay invested not only into the game, but also their universe. So if Aether Studios does decide to do more side games, most likely the people that are heavily invested into the lore of the game will be like, I really like Rivals of Aether 2. I don't really like the fighting part of the game that much, but I really love the characters. And so they'll purchase the other titles just because they love the universe. It's same thing with League of Legends, right? I mean, well, maybe it's a bad example since I think Riot Forge is basically cooked, like it doesn't exist anymore. But a lot of people bought the not Sylvanos. It's the dude with the chains or whatever. I forgot what his name was. Silas. Yeah, the Silas Riot game, and then the that other one, the ghost one with Yasuo. Yeah. So that's why I was harping on them about marketing, because even though your game doesn't have a lot of features jam packed in it, you can market it in a way that is appealing to both the hardcore fighting game audience and people outside of the fighting game sphere.
Of like how a platform game could approach, but then like each one is still set in the story using our characters, but like because they're done separately, like you could change up the high level gameplay.
Yeah, that'll be really exciting, and people will just have to wait and see on that. Yeah, more news. Someone predicted you were gonna say Metroidvania in the chat. Good job, Toma. Plushies.
Okay, we're gonna skip the plushies because I don't really care for them that much. Console version, we already most likely that's not gonna come out for a while. We have to wait until the game is somewhat successful for them to be like, okay, we're gonna consider making a console version. So I'm gonna skip those questions.
Made a thread on this many months ago, and Dan himself commented on the concerns, but I'm curious if these changes will be seen on launch.
Yeah, so somebody asked, colorblind friendly recolor. So this is specifically about like the palettes in the game. So like the red, blue, green, and how they don't change the characters that much, and how, they could be seen as colorblind. Well, they don't, for certain colorblindness, they're not super helpful. So yeah, there's like a couple things here. One would be, so like palettes in terms of like, hey, why isn't the red one more different, right? So that goes back to, we do have like this kind of like rarity system on all our cosmetics, right? So palettes themselves, like the ones that just come with the game, are basically like, common tier palettes. So like they are actually purposely designed to not go too crazy. They're supposed to be like the way recolors work in Rivals 1. The base recolors, right? Where it's like, someone like Forsburn, their cloak is changing, but his skin in Rivals 1 doesn't, unless you have smoke charges, and then it, matches your cloak color. So that's why like the basic palettes aren't, and then there's like more palettes you'll be able to get that do go crazier, right? Something like the custom colors from Rivals, where you can kind of change a lot more things. So that's kind of like why these are tame. In terms of like, are they visually different? We do plan on more accessibility options. So like, first off, just having 3 different team colors. So, if you are red, green, colorblind, you can use like the blue team to hopefully help with that. We are also working on like an outline system that's optional, right? So if you want to use team outlines, that can also help. And we'll have stuff at launch, but we don't plan on stopping, right? So like, if people are running into issues still where like teams is difficult, or even like 1v1 online, if like you're having trouble.
That's the thing too, is that they're really hoping that this game survives a while, because they're going to be constantly updating the game in terms of optimization, in terms of having more user-friendly options to such as a colorblind mode, for example, or something like that. So they want to do all these like features, like accessibility features, but yeah, it's just gonna be a while. So they're gonna keep updating the game as it goes on.
Like keeping track of which character you are, because people are using palettes that are too similar.
But at least they have something currently.
I think one we're working on that might make launch is you might be able to use the outlines as well, like kind of on your own machine, even if you're in a 1v1, as like another additional accessibility feature. So it's a long-winded way of saying the palettes aren't supposed to be crazy different initially, right? Because there's levels, so that's one half, and then two is, yes, we do want to make sure we have accessibility options so people can follow along the action easier.
Yeah. So there's no button in like the UI right now where you just flip it all over, but the short version of that is that, yes, we're sensitive to it, and we're trying to allay it as best we can, and then of course keep improving it.
Yeah.
I'm looking at chat, but let's get through a few, at least more, like down to the other ones start getting like pretty small upvotes, and then we'll try to take some live questions maybe in the last like 20 minutes, which is almost now. But yeah, okay, we'll go through a few more of these from this if we can. Okay, this isn't really phrased as a question, so we're skipping it. Sorry, you had your chance. It's Jeopardy rules. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, they wrote UI/menu changes/revamp. Will the UI be revamped from the state it was in during the most recent beta? Short answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So the answer is we hired a new designer, Andrew, on our team, who is working with Joe, an engineer on our team, and Gabe, a UI artist. So those three combine into super UI team. Andrew started really recently, August, I want to say. And already the three of them have made tons of progress because there's a lot more. You're going to see, if you saw in the video from today, there's a lot more screens than there were in the betas that are all coming online at once. Beth on our team is also doing a lot of UI with Ranked Online. So yeah, a lot more screens. And then 2, they have been improving a lot of the screens. So I will say, yes, it's going to look better. There's some screens that will still look basically the same. Samantha, who was our UI artist up until the Kickstarter, did a lot of good work on kind of the core flow. So like character select, stage select, match, and results. So a lot of that is going to look, the same, just with additions, improvements. But a lot of the other menus are getting like fully kind of overhauled by our team right now. So hopefully you guys are excited to see, those updates. That's going to be really exciting next week. And then in terms of like our vision for UI, yeah, so the truth of the honesty is we're a 30-person team that is trying to compete against Smash and Street Fighter and Tekken and Mortal Kombat, which are hundreds of, up to like 1,000 people on games like Smash Ultimate, right? And we know, and it is a daunting task, right? And we know what we're being compared to, and obviously, like, especially going to 3D, or being put right up against them. And as much as we want to be that guy, that team, right now our sizes we're not, right? So we're trying to do the best. We're trying to focus on what we're good at. And we also do want this game to last a long time. So I think on something like UI, like we want to be proud of it, we want to be as good as possible, but we also want to be updating it this whole time, right? So like if the game is successful and the team's growing, then ideally, a couple years in, a lot of the screens are, improving. And like that's one of the benefits. So I think if you do play competitive games, I would think something like League of Legends, right? Where if you did play back in 2010, 2011, everything looks different from how it does now, right? And
completely.
They've updated the client many times, and it's super sleek now, and they have all like the cool, the splash.
I'm gonna be that guy. This is a hot take. I still think the old League client looks way better than the new one. The new one it sucks the personality out of the client. Like it's aesthetically like sleek and modernized, but it just feels like it has no personality. But that's just me.
Splash art big and things like that. That is like our long-term goal, but of course it's going to be based on how successful the game is, right? Like if we depending on like the scale, like we'll probably still focus on like characters and the things we're like, that we feel we're really good at. But even still, I think our current team of Joe, Andrew, and Gabe are crushing the last 2 months as is, and we're going to be happy to see those upgrades. But I don't think it stops there. I think we can keep improving screens. Like even like I mentioned, like that main flow of character select in-game result. Like I wouldn't be surprised for us to go in and like update that kind of stuff. Not long after launch as well, and just kind of make everything more cohesive. But right now we know that it isn't at the level of these AAA games, and that we would love to improve it to that level.
I think people will be excited to even see the changes we made since the last beta, because yeah, there's stuff coming, and it will continue to come. So that was really good answer. Thank you. I'll thank you. I'm sure chat.
Okay, I'm gonna skip the Battle Pass FOMO because they've been talking about that for a while already. Custom colors. I think they said early bird raster won't be available again. They said that, yeah, okay. So most of these questions we can easily just go through a cliff notes provided by this dude here, this Reddit post. Cliff notes from the deep dive Q&A. So right here we could just see a little cliff notes about the whole thing here. Yeah, custom colors is on the roadmap, but it's not a high priority. So basically, before, I think maybe like 2 years ago, I could be wrong about this, don't quote me on this, they said that custom colors just weren't possible because they didn't have the tech to create custom colors, but now they have something in the works, so it's possible now, but yeah, it's not a high priority. Let's see. Next fest will let everyone play the game for a full week. All announced characters and online play, of course. Oh, achievements. Wait, achievements will be... Oh, okay, in the full release. I was about to say. Okay. There will be additional bundles at launch to gain additional currency and items. Ooh. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna have to save my money for that. Interesting. Okay. Aether Bucks is the best way to support the devs. So, yeah, if you want to support the devs, you want to support Rivals of Aether 2, you want the game to be constantly updated with content, with skins, buy Aether Bucks. Buy some skins. At least one will be fine. But ideally, you know, if you're packing some heat, you know, maybe 2 or 3. There will be palettes for all skins available in the coin shop. Okay, so if you know League of Legends, they have a system called chromas where, let's say you bought the Darius like Dunk Master skin. There's other like recolors of that skin that they call chromas, and so they'll have something like that for Rivals 2, which will be pretty sick actually. I do like that because like there are some skins where I'm like, man, I wish there was like a recolor of this and it would be perfect. So yeah, the fact that they're doing this is really awesome. And the fact that, well, actually they said the coin shop, so yeah, you could just use earnable in-game currency to unlock them instead of like real money, which is actually kind of insane. So that's pretty cool. Anything else? Okay, yeah. Playable tutorials are not available on launch, but they are planned. I want more recolors of the retro skins. I do love the retro skins, so I also kind of hope for that. But even if they don't, maybe custom colors can kind of alleviate that problem. But custom colors will be far, far out into development. It's not going to be like... It's going to be way later. Let's see, yeah. There will be in-game and web resources like infographics, 101 videos, and a wiki at launch until proper tutorials are implemented. I literally told my buddy this, like you can't just not give new players a tutorial. You just can't do that. They're just going to be frustrated with the game. And especially players that are completely new to fighting games and platform fighters. Yeah, no. You don't want to just throw them to the wolves and be like, all right, learn as you go. Good luck, buddy. Like, I've been telling a lot of my friends that, hey, they could commission someone like Beefy Aether Dudes to make like a Rivals 2 101 tips and tricks video playlist where it'll show them like, okay, here's movement options that you should learn. Here are basic guides to Zetterburn. This is his unique mechanic. Like, stuff like that will help the new player out. So I'm glad that they're going to be adding various types of resources to give the new player an easier time into playing the game. As they release characters, it will be in a 50, 25, 25 splits. Half of the new characters will be returning characters. A quarter will be from the Aether Expanded Universe, like Fleet and Loxodon. And the last quarter will be totally new. And honestly, I think that's a pretty fair split. 2 easy returning characters that they could just pump out. And then the other half is more of a unique character because they didn't exist in Rivals 1. And when I mean exist, I mean in terms of gameplay. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty exciting. Let's see. Workshop is post-launch, at least a year or 2 down the line. The tech is there, but there's a lot of work that has to be done before it can be implemented. I'm gonna be that guy. As much as I think Workshop is fun, I really just want them to focus on the core gameplay, and I want them to focus on the core package of the game. I don't want them to be fumbling around Workshop. Like I want them to make the game a complete package first before they move on to community support. And yeah, I think that's about it for everything. So yeah, overall, the currencies and cosmetics video was just really well done. The Q&A, I highly recommend any of you, if you're even a little bit interested in the game, to check out the deep dive Q&A. There's a lot of good information here. And overall, like, at first, okay, so here's kind of like the timeline. The first 2 to 3 months, I was excited that Rivals 2 was even a thing. After those first 2 months, where we start learning more and more about the development of the game, I started becoming less and less optimistic. But currently, right now, I definitely have a lot more hype for the game. Like, it doesn't feel like they're just fumbling around and they're kind of like in this chaotic state. It feels like they're actually starting to find their stride, and they're actually working actively towards making the game a really solid platform fighter that people will come to love for many years. So I'm definitely a lot more hype about the game. I don't know about you guys, but I have a little bit more optimism. I'm still cautious, of course. That's just, it's in the name. I'm skeptic. I'm a skeptic. I'm very skeptical. So I side on the air of caution. But overall, I definitely am way more hyped than I was a couple months ago. And I'm excited. I'm excited to play the game at launch. So with that being said, thank you everyone so much for watching this video. If you got this far, I hope everyone here has a great day, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. And until next time, bye.